So, what are we going to talk about today? We're going to be talking about longer queues at airports, which is going to be an interesting one as a result of this COVID-19. So I'll explain a bit about that in this video, and we're going to be talking, this is really a business jet intelligence report. So I'm going to uncover some new data that JetNet IQ have come up with, and I'm going to comment about what my views are on where this is all going. So that's the content of this video today. I hope you enjoy it. Let's get straight into it. Off we go. Hi, welcome to Biz Jet TV. My name is Fabrizio Poli, and today we're going to be following up on the previous video about is it the right time to buy a private jet right now. Now, JetNet IQ have come up with a report about the status of the market right now with some interesting data. Now there's a lot of wealth reports out there that we're talking about, how there's going to be a surge in private jet sales in the next 10 years because of the economy and things speeding up, and that is still the case. But the numbers are going to come down a little bit, according to JetNet IQ, by about 7%. So where before we were looking at 7,180 new jets to be delivered between 2020 and 2029, we're now looking at that number coming down by about 7%, which is almost about 500 jets less. Now, the reason being that right now with the pandemic and the economic shutdown, and I'd like to focus on that here. This is not a health channel, even though we have covered the subject of health. But on this video, we're talking about, the private jet market, because a lot of factories, Bombardier, Gulfstream, Dassault, all those guys have reduced the number of workers that are on the production line right now. They've actually either stopped production or they've scaled down big time. So the airplanes are going to take longer to make, and so deliveries are going to be a lot slower. That's one end of it. The other end is quite a few companies are going through financial difficulty right now. So a lot of sectors have been hit big time. They're unable to open their restaurants or hotels or stuff like that. Some manufacturing companies as well have been affected by this shutdown. And so consequently, those companies that had ordered a jet may be thinking now of not buying the jet. So they've kind of cancelled their order. So now that jet's either sitting on the tarmac or it was in the production line or about to start being produced, and that order has been cancelled. So, as a consequence of that, there are opportunities in the market to buy pre-owned aircraft for a bit less than what they were going for a few months ago. So that certainly is happening. Transactions have slowed down, mainly because of the pre-buy inspections. Because when you do a pre-buy inspection, you have to send an engineer out, or you take the airplane to a facility where they inspect it carefully. A lot of these maintenance companies have either scaled back on their workers right now, or actually shut shop for the moment while they wait for this pandemic to clear. So that's another business that's been affected. So it can be a little bit challenging to manage to perform a pre-buy inspection, which is fundamental when you're buying an aircraft. And that needs to be submitted to the lawyers and part of the whole negotiation process, the outcome of the pre-buy inspection. So that's really, really important. Now, where are we going to see growth in the market? How's the market going to be split fleet-wise? Well, according to JetNet IQ, 26% light jets, 34% mid-size, and 40% large jets. That percentage is pretty much there, even though we're seeing an increase in mid-size and large jets. And there's two reasons for that. The first reason is a lot of companies out there that are currently flying their people around with the airlines are thinking, you know what we'll do is we'll buy a large cabin aircraft, private jet, and we'll just shuttle our people around on a private jet. This way they're not flying with the airlines. We control all our people, we have them tested, we have the airplane disinfected, the crew undergo testing and that. So we know that our people are traveling in a clean environment. And of course, the other advantage is you can park it at your local airport, you can leave when you want to leave, and you're not relying on the airline schedule. The other thing which I'd like to mention, and a good friend of mine, Breno, said to me the other day when we were having a chat about what's going on, he was saying, remember after 9/11 how they increased security at airports, and where you could previously turn up an hour and a half before your flight, now suddenly it's become 3 hours because you've got to take your shoes off and this off and x-ray this and x-ray that. Well, what's probably going to happen is they're going to throw in some sort of virus test. And so you're going to have to queue up and spit into a tube, and then they have to go over and analyse it, and that's going to take 10-15 minutes. And so now, before you had to travel to the airport 3 hours before your flight, it's going to be 4 hours before the flight. So companies are starting to realize that, you know, those queues at check-in in airport terminals where all the airlines fly are going to get longer and longer. And it's just going to create more stress. So do you really want your people going through that? Because that's what's coming next. They're going to start introducing all this testing equipment into airports, and they're going to start getting passengers spitting in machines and testing them for viruses. Because an airplane is a closed environment and viruses can spread very quickly on an airplane. So people are starting to catch on to that, and they're thinking, you know what, we'll just dump the whole airline thing and we will get our people to fly on a private jet. But obviously, you know, a CJ3 is not going to work, or a Phenom 300, because they are small and only carry maybe a few people, and so they need a larger cabin aircraft, which could be a Global Express, a Challenger 850. It's something with a large cabin where you can carry 12 to 14 people, or maybe 16 people quite comfortably. So that's certainly going to be something that you may even be thinking about. And let's have a conversation. You can ping me an email and let's see what your requirements are. Let's see what we can do. The other thing that we see happening, and I agree with Jet IQ, and I just want to expand a bit on why I think this is going to happen. There's going to be more companies now that aren't going to travel long distance, because they won't need to travel long distance that much. Simply because a lot of manufacturing now is going to happen on a local level. Because right now, if you want to get stuff from certain parts of the world or from the other side of the world, it is difficult. Cargo prices have gone through the roof, and of course manufacturing has scaled back. And so if you are ordering, you know, 2,000 or 3,000 a month of whatever you're ordering, now you can only order maybe 500. So people are saying, you know what, plus I don't trust those people on the other side of the world, so I'm going to set up a factory locally. Now, we know that in the United States, President Donald Trump, since he was elected, is going on and on and on about bringing manufacturing back to the United States because he wants to bring the jobs back. But what he hasn't factored in is the fact that a lot of these jobs are going to be done by artificial intelligence or by robots. And now, with all this pandemic thing that's happened, someone's going to say, okay, number one, I need to bring the factory locally. Okay, so it's local, it's down the road. And number two, if a pandemic does happen and they try and shut down the economy here locally, if I've got robots doing the job and not men, I can still continue manufacturing. And so more companies now are looking into using AI and robots to do this, and this was already happening before, but I think more companies now are going to be doing this, and they're accelerating the pace in order to be able to control the factory, maybe from a computer from home, you know, with cameras and everything and that, and let the robots do the work and let the drones do the delivery. So we eliminate the human being completely out of the manufacturing and delivery process. Now, of course, before we see airplanes fly without a human being flying it, it's going to take a while, and I think it's not a technology problem, it's more a mindset problem. But certainly with cargo, I can see drones doing a lot of the work, and maybe, you know, rockets, and as Elon Musk is talking about, flying people from anywhere to anywhere in less than an hour. Check that video out up here. So that's kind of the snapshot here. So prices on private jets is coming. Prices are coming down, which is good. Don't expect them to come down by 50%. I think we're seeing up to about 10% correction in the market. So something that was going for 10 million, you know, pick up for 9 million, maybe 8.5, depending on the circumstance of the owner. And that's why, you know, we need to get into the specifics of the deal. What are your requirements and what opportunities are there out there? And that's why you need somebody that knows not only the market, but also what is off market. And check that video out about off-market aircraft, because that's something that a lot of people misunderstand. And so we produced a video about that, so check that one out too. So that's really it. And if you want to know more, you can either ping me an email and we can schedule a one-to-one call. Alternatively, put some comments below on what you'd like to see next coming up here on Biz Jet TV. And if you haven't subscribed to this channel, I encourage you to subscribe. And that's all from Fabrizio Poli on Biz Jet TV, and I'll see you on the next one.